The Formula One Championship has taken a dramatic turn following the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, where Max Verstappen delivered a calculated statement that has triggered explosive reactions from McLaren's title contenders. What was expected to be a routine weekend for championship leader Oscar Piastri and his teammate Lando Norris instead became a catastrophic display of errors, while Verstappen quietly positioned himself as the ultimate threat, with 7 races remaining in the 2025 season. Oscar Piastri, the current championship leader, endured what can only be described as a nightmare weekend in Baku. His troubles began in qualifying when he crashed in Q3, dropping him down to 9th position on the grid. The Australian driver's weekend went from bad to worse on race day when he jumped the start, attempted to correct his mistake, dropped back through the field, and then locked up into the Turn 5 barrier, crashing out on lap 1 with no chance to fight back. "Not my finest moment," Piastri admitted after the race, but his problems went deeper than just the crash. Before the accident, he had acknowledged that the win was going to be ambitious, showing he wasn't being overconfident, but simply realistic about McLaren's pace at the challenging Baku circuit. After reflecting on his disastrous weekend, Piastri was brutally honest. "There's been far too many mistakes from start to finish." Meanwhile, Lando Norris, Piastri's teammate and title challenger, salvaged what he could from the chaos, finishing in 7th position. While not terrible, it was far from what he needed to close the gap in the championship fight. Norris was particularly vocal about Red Bull's surprising pace advantage, stating, "I think Red Bull is too quick. They're just as quick as us, easily." The British driver witnessed firsthand the top speeds of Verstappen and even Yuki Tsunoda in the second Red Bull car, leaving him feeling powerless against their straight-line performance. The Red Bull car demonstrated incredible pace in specific sections of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix circuit, with Norris admitting, "I had no chance to keep up with him in some areas of the track." Despite the challenging conditions including wet weather, tricky qualifying sessions, and McLaren having to go out first on track, Norris remained realistic about their performance deficit. "I think on ultimate pace we were still not bad this weekend. I don't think we had the pace of Red Bull." "Honestly, that was very, very clear," he explained. This is where Max Verstappen's statement becomes crucial and potentially game-changing. The Dutch driver delivered what many are calling a psychological masterstroke when he said, "I don't rely on hope, but it's 7 rounds left. 69 points is a lot. So, I personally don't think about it. But I just go race by race doing what I have been doing basically the whole season, just trying to do the best we can. Try to score the most points that we can. And then after Abu Dhabi we'll know." The delivery was classic. Verstappen, calm, calculated, and dangerous. Verstappen currently sits 69 points behind Piastri and 44 points behind Norris, with 7 races remaining in the season. While the gap appears substantial, McLaren team principal Andrea Stella is clearly concerned about Red Bull's recent developments. Stella warned that Red Bull has taken upgrades, changed stuff, and might have unlocked performance. He specifically noted that they have taken a new floor in Monza, and they might be setting up their car slightly differently. Now, Verstappen is talking about grounding much more than he was doing before, so they might have unlocked performance. The mathematical reality facing Verstappen is daunting, but not impossible. With 3 sprint weekends included in the remaining 7 race weekends, additional points are available that could accelerate any potential comeback. McLaren has dominated this season with 12 wins out of 17 races, making their recent struggles even more surprising and concerning for the team. Norris's frustration became evident in his post-race comments when he snapped back at questions about missing opportunities. "I don't really care how people look at it. If I had started second, I think I would have finished second." This response revealed underlying tension and frustration, with factors beyond pure speed that cost him valuable points. Norris further expressed his concerns about the team's current form. "We clearly struggled a little bit this weekend. We still don't have the confidence we need." Piastri, typically composed and measured, showed rare vulnerability when discussing his multiple errors throughout the Baku weekend. "Probably a little bit from dirty air, but I know better than that. 2 simple errors on my behalf," he admitted. The championship leader acknowledged that this kind of weekend is rare, but also recognized that we clearly have things that are not good enough and that we have to keep working on them. The psychological impact of Verstappen's statement cannot be understated. The 3-time world champion has a proven track record of mounting incredible comebacks when others count him out. His approach of not relying on hope but simply executing race by race has worked before, and McLaren knows it. Verstappen's calm confidence in saying, "After Abu Dhabi we'll know," demonstrates the mental strength that has defined his career. Andrea Stella's assessment that Red Bull are a very serious contender to win races and a very serious contender for the Drivers' Championship shows that McLaren is taking this threat seriously. The team that once felt secure with their championship lead now finds themselves defending not just their position, but their confidence and composure under pressure. Norris attempted to maintain perspective while addressing his championship deficit. "I'm doing the best I can. I know I've still got a lot of points to make up against a pretty good driver, an incredible driver. I just need to keep my head down." However, the frustration in his words was unmistakable, particularly when he reflected on what could have been different if he had qualified better. Piastri, despite his struggles, tried to project confidence about Verstappen's comeback chances. "I'm not going to rule Max out, but I'm honestly not too concerned with that. I'm just trying to bounce back from this weekend." Yet his admission of multiple errors and the acknowledgement that such weekends expose McLaren's weaknesses suggests deeper concerns within the team. The historical context makes Verstappen's situation both challenging and intriguing. In 2013, Sebastian Vettel won the final 9 races of the season to clinch the championship for Red Bull, and Verstappen has already secured 2 consecutive victories. While the points gap is significant, Formula One has witnessed remarkable comebacks before, and Verstappen's track record suggests he thrives under pressure. McLaren's dominance this season now appears fragile after their Baku performance exposed execution errors, pace deficits in certain conditions, and potential cracks in their psychological armor. The team that looked untouchable just weeks ago now faces questions about their ability to handle pressure and maintain their championship challenge against a resurgent Verstappen and Red Bull. With 7 races remaining, and the championship fight potentially shifting from a McLaren internal battle to a 3-way contest involving Verstappen, the psychological warfare has officially begun. Verstappen's statement wasn't just confidence, it was a declaration that he's far from finished, and McLaren's angry response suggests they know the threat is real. With 7 races remaining, and the championship fight potentially shifting from a McLaren internal battle to a 3-way contest involving Verstappen, the psychological warfare has officially begun. Verstappen's statement wasn't just confidence, it was a declaration that he's far from finished, and McLaren's angry response suggests they know the threat is real. The stakes couldn't be higher for McLaren, who are pursuing their first Drivers' Championship since Lewis Hamilton's triumph in 2008. Their 12 victories from 17 races this season represents one of the most dominant campaigns in recent Formula One history, yet Baku demonstrated how quickly momentum can shift in championship battles. Verstappen's methodical approach of taking each race individually mirrors his 2021 and 2022 title-winning strategies, where he systematically dismantled his opponents through consistent performance and mental resilience. Can McLaren overcome their psychological fragility and maintain their championship lead, or will Verstappen's relentless pursuit prove too overwhelming for the young McLaren drivers to handle?